stomach to. Oh, and by the way, if you have some type of contaminant in your let's say you're swimming and you swallow water and you get sick in the stomach, one thing you can do is get a clove oil and take some clove oil, which is very strong, extremely strong, and you put it into a glass of maybe 8 ounces of filtered water or good spring water, and swallow that down. You can take 2 drops or more, and that will reverse that contamination in your stomach, in your gut. It says to embitter, exasperate, render angry, indignant, to embittered, irritate, to visit with bitterness, to grieve, deal bitterly with, which the word means contaminate, because it said men died when they drunk of this water. Okay, so now let's go back to Mara, which means bitter, which means to be contaminated. It said they couldn't drink of that water because the water was contaminated. This was in the land of Canaan. I'm going to read again from Exodus 15:23. And when they came to Mara, they could not drink of the waters of Mara, for they were bitter, contaminated. Therefore the name of it was called Mara, which means contaminated. The word America, the word means bitter. Go to etymology online and put in the word America, and let's see what it breaks down to. 24th verse. It says, and the people murmured against Moses, saying, what shall we drink? 25th verse. And he cried unto Yahweh, and Yahweh showed him a tree. Check this out. The Most High showed him a tree, which when he had cast into the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them. Should I read more? I'm going to read the 26th verse. It says, and said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord Yahweh, thy judge, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am Yahweh that healeth thee. Okay, so how did he heal the people of Israel at the waters of Mara? He told them to get a particular tree. Now in the military, they know about that. They'll go to certain places in the Middle East and they'll take a certain tree bark. If you look it up, it'll pop up, and they'll put it in that water, and it makes that contaminated water. It turns it into fresh water. So Esau studies the scriptures. You got that, Ak?
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about being bitter. They don't even mention it.
See that you know, America. The word Amara means bitter, contaminated. Because this Babylon is bitter to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, don't even mention it at all.
But anyway, let's go back to Revelation where we left off. Who was? Okay, go ahead.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 7 again. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the 4 quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea.
Gog and Magog, that region is where Russia is today. You know, in Middle Europe. If you look at a map, you know it's below Russia. It's where Turkey is today, but it's referring to the Russians because they expanded. Those Edomites expanded. Now you have certain Israelites that claim that the Edomites are not so-called white people, that they're Gog, Magog, and Japhet. And that's not true. The people of Gog and Magog, or the sons of Japhet, those who, by a process of elimination, they would have to be the people of the South Pacific, the Polynesian Islands, the Aborigines of Australia, those people. Because the word Japhet goes back to the Hebrew word Yapa, which means beautiful. And the women are beautiful. You know, they have, the men and the women, they have certain complexion. They have smooth skin. Those are the people of Japhet, all right? Which, when you go into the history of the what's the name of that? The Etruscans, okay? Those were the original people that inhabited that area of Macedon, of Greece, what you call Greece today, Rome, because the original rulers of Rome and Greece were the people, the seed of Japhet. And what happened was, the so-called white man, Esau, went into them lands. That's why Gog and Magog is known as the Russians today, because Esau pushed the original people, the dark people, the sons of Japhet, out of that land. Now you might say, well, nah, that can't happen. Well, guess what? If you go to so-called Egypt today, who's living in Egypt? Who controls Egypt? The so-called Arabs, the sons of Ishmael, and the different Arab groups. Now, where are the original Egyptians? If you go south down to Sudan, that's where a lot of them are. And if you Google the word Sudanese, you see that they're tall and black, dark skin and tall, and they look like the actual Egyptians. If you go to a museum like the Met, and you look at the different wall paintings, for lack of a better term, they're all known for being tall, skinny, and very black. So, you can't say, well, no, those are not. Look, Esau pushed people out of their lands, man. Macedon, where Philip, the father of Alexander the Greek, came out of, those are dark people, man. And what they did was they conquered the dark nations.
If I may say this too, yeah, and it wasn't until the Greeks came into power that they started going around changing the names of all the different lands. That's who actually went around and did that. I was trying to see if I could find it real quick. If I find it, I'll bring it up. But basically, they're the ones that all these different names you see today, they're all like derived from Greek names, because they're the Greeks are the ones that changed all those names back then.
I got scripture back you up.
Before you go into that, and the word Ashkenazi, they'll say the Ashkenazis, that means the Germans. No, Ashkenaz, Ash means fire, and Kanaj, I believe, I got to look it up, it means scattered fire. It has nothing to do with the Germans. It was the so-called German Jews that took that name and called themselves Ashkenazis. That was an ancient name that goes back to the people of the sons of Japhet.
Yeah, I got a scripture for you, Elder Apostle Ramlab. Isaiah 25:7, it says, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. So that veil, like you mentioned, is those different names that goes back to the Greeks. That's right. Like, example, China and Japan and America, France, Germany. All these names really go back of Greek origin. Even the peoples, going back to when the Greeks took over, they pretty much they changed the landscape, and that's why in the scripture is written, "Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth all things." That's an example of how this devil covered things up, by putting different labels on people. Like you so-called Negroes, they call you black. When slavery, you call Negro. Then during the 70s, you were called black. During the 80s, Afro-American. You know? These are all labels, man. These are like the scripture I'm reading here. Yeah, byword, where it says you would become a byword. These are the veils that has been spread over you. But the Lord said this. I'll read it again. Isaiah 25:7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast. And you know this prophecy is being fulfilled now through us. Because the Lord has given